Unless you're on the west coast of NA, this year's Legendary Banner is taking place on Leap Day. Today we'll be going over our new unit and briefly talk about the 11 other heroes on the banner. If you're a Fire Emblem Engage fan, Attendant Systems is not done celebrating the game's anniversary. This month we have legendary male Alear with a different skill set from his female counterpart. He will be a colorless infantry dragon, and again, this is basically Alear's promoted Divine Dragon class outfit. In terms of gameplay, the dragon typing for Alear is an amazingly creative implementation thanks to their magical martial arts weapon. I want to talk about some of the other references in this kit, but for anyone who hasn't played Engage, you don't want to know more, basically digging any deeper into this is a huge main plot spoiler territory. As such, I'll leave a pinned comment with some thoughts because that 8 skill is genuinely hilarious. Back to Alear's kit, he's an Earth Legendary pair-up that boosts speed. I know we need some variety, but I feel like Alear still should have been a Fire Legendary, even his title agrees. Now, we didn't get to see male Alear's stats, but I'm fairly confident he would be similar to Legendary female Alear, extremely fast, slightly lower defense, and sacrifices some attack for higher res. It wouldn't surprise me to see male Alear have even more res due to his base kit. Additionally, female Alear has trainee BST, so expect to see more extra stats here. For old skills, male Alear also has Attack and Speed Pledge, a very fun cooldown skill which was only on legendary female Alear. I do wonder if it's going to start spreading out more after this. For male Alear, he does have the Dragon's Fist weapon from Engage, but we got a different name this time with some changes. Divine One's Arts is an 11-might dual-phase brave weapon with accelerated specials. If Alear has more than 25% HP, he gets +5 to all stats, and inflicts debuffs on the foe equal to the number of distinct titles among allies within 3 spaces, times 3, with a base of -4. If you have 2 allies from different Fire Emblem titles, you're going to get the max -10 debuffs to all stats. Additionally, Alear gets 50% DR piercing on all hits, and has the usual Dragon Scowl effect. If he has 5 or more res than the enemy, inflict +1 cooldown on the foe before their first attack, only applies to offensive specials. So, the Slaying Brave Fist with potentially +15 stat advantages is the same deal as legendary female Alear. You're going to want allies not from Engage nearby for the max bonus debuffs. Differing from female Alear, instead of %DR, we have partial DR piercing. This is great because of brave attacks, and Alear should have decent quad potential. From his own protection, you also got Scowl. This is one reason Alear may want to prioritize resistance, and it wouldn't surprise me if his base stats are even more skewed into res. Overall though, solid weapon, lower might, but a ton of bonus attack built in with DR piercing. Can't really go wrong with that. For Myrrh Alear's unique A skill, we have a literal reference to something in Engage that I find extremely funny, but I will not elaborate further. Emblem's Miracle is a distant counter skill. If Alear has an ally within 3 spaces, he gets +9 to all stats, and 40% damage reduction for first attacks with an S, and AoE specials. If Alear has 3 or more allies nearby, and the foe initiates combat, then he basically gets Miracle with a full heal after combat. This works once per map, and it's going to trigger at the same time other Miracle type effects proc besides the actual Miracle special. Big thing to note for this skill, the Miracle effect can occur at any HP as long as it's enemy phase and Alear has allies. This means you basically have to deal with it unless you can bait Alear to initiate or you take out his team. However, baiting the probably fast and hard-hitting brave attacker with DR piercing, who may also drop a special on you, is not ideal. If you want to one-shot Alear first, you're going to need Fatal Smoke 4 or a very strong brave attack. Even with those said tools, Alear has more layers of protection with his special Dragon's Roar. Unless legendary male Alear has 3 unique skills, this is most likely an inheritable dragon-only special. It's honestly not very different from the current armor type specials. With 3 cooldown, this boosts special damage by 40% of the unit's res. If unit or foe special is ready or is triggered at some point, and unit has more res than the foe's res -4 during combat, then reduce damage from the foe's next attack by 40%. Dragon's Roar is going to be the lower cooldown 500 SP special dragons can run instead of 5 cooldown Aether, Blue Flame, or the armored specials for the armored dragons. Unfortunately, it is res focused, so lower res dragons may not be able to use it effectively, and that goes for the unpierceable %DR portion as well. This is concerning because some of the current scary nukers out there that may or may not have been released in the past month may also focus on res. You get a 4-point leeway with Dragon's Roar, but if male Alear were to straight up lose his res check, then you're going to get no unperceivable damage reduction and no Scowl. He does still have Miracle, but that is a one-time activation and enemy phase only. For the armored dragons using Savior, there isn't really any point to using Dragon's Roar. The armor type specials have a range condition instead of the res condition that will always activate with the corresponding Savior. That said, if you want to take on melee and range threats, then Dragon's Roar is the new go-to. Male Alear may not have any engaging support-related mechanics like his female self, but he can share the special with fellow dragons, assumingly. Last new skill from Alear is Speed and Res Bulwark 4. Basically, the tier 4 Bulwark just adds 40% damage reduction for first attacks on top of the original tier 3 effects. You got the super obstruct effect with after combat healing. The healing doesn't matter for Alear's Miracle A skill since it's one time only, but if you want to run the actual Miracle special, then perhaps you can do some funky stuff there. For this variant, with Speed and Res debuffs, it's most relevant to dragons. Counter Roar is similar to Bulwark 4, but you trade damage for the obstruct effects. For Alear and other dragons with res checking skills, the -4 res debuffs will be appreciated though. Putting everything together, legendary male Alear does not have any support-based mechanics like his female counterpart. This means he can be at full strength when on AI defense teams. This may be an issue since Alear has a built-in Miracle effect with a full heal on top. Additionally, to even trigger Miracle, you need to chew through 3 40% DR effects, with one of those being unpierceable when specials are ready. Alear has anti-precharge special features thanks to Scowl, and potentially a ton of stats everywhere. Possibly plus 24 to all stats in his favor. If you get through all of that, Miracle is the final fallback. If you cannot one-shot Alear, he has built-in distant counter, brave attacks, and half DR piercing. With Pledge's breath type cooldown, he also almost always procs his Dragon's Roar special on one of those brave hits. In the trailer, Alear is quadding Gullveig, so he probably is just as fast as his female form. Very deadly unit. He may not empower other allies, but male Alear has a ton of personal combat power. To be honest, I would not be surprised if people were to swap out Bulwark for something like Nelsie Disrupt 4. Fire Sweepers can mess with Alear, but if he gets a turn, the guy has a lot of bursts to strike back with, not to mention he literally has Miracle. One thing I'm concerned with is the various res checks in the kit. If Alear were to lose those, you lose the unpierceable 40% DR, not to mention Scowl. It's not the end of the world due to Miracle, but that can be countered by Fatal Smoke 4. Now, something I'm curious about is a build with something like Temple 4 and the Miracle Special. Double Miracle Insurance seems really dumb to face off against. I still think Nelsie Disrupt may be a better B skill to pivot toward, not to mention Alear wants no follow-ups somehow. You're going to want to deny follow-ups when you got Miracle in your kit. All in all, should be a perfectly fun unit. I'm not sure if he can withstand all the player phase nukes out there, but he literally has a way to not die, so that has to count for something. I guess we'll see how many miracles the emblems can pull off in FEH. For the rest of the video, we'll be talking about the 11 other heroes available. In red, we have Kvasir, attuned Triandra, and Harken. Blue has Freyr, legendary Myrrh, and Febail. Green has Heidr, legendary Ninian, and attuned Peony. Colorless has our new Alear, Gullveig, and Gotoh. In the red group, we start with Mythic Kvasir. Dark Mythic, Red Mage Cav with the Glacius of Glass Cannon stats. Kvasir's weapon has Slaying, plus 5 stats with Speed and Res debuffs, full no follow-up, breath type cooldown, and in the first fight of a phase, she gets 70% damage reduction on first attacks. After combat, Kvasir gets a Panic Smoke type effect. Her unique special has a high 5 cooldown, scales off 60% attack, and has built-in no guard. If Kvasir initiates, survives, and triggers late as time, she can dance a nearby ally, or if no one is danceable, Kvasir gets the Times Gate status, which lets allies within 4 spaces warp next to her. Basically, Kvasir is an initiator that can cause major issues if she survives. For skills, lots of strong offensive options like Attack and Speed Catch, Slow Speed and Res 4, and the only holder of Insight Attack and Speed. Very good self-buffing option. You can get Insight and either of the tier 4 skills now with our 5 inheritance slots. Up next is attuned Triandra, who is a sword-flying dancer with good offensive stats. Triandra's sword can inflict -5 speed and defense and 5 instant damage on foes within its range, so stack that with all your other sources. For Triandra, she has Slaying, plus 5 stats, and true damage based on speed. From her unique dance, she deploys a ruse-like effect, but it also comes with a sabotage status. For Triandra's attuned X skill, it ruins my new chart layout, but I'm just going to place it in the corner. Deathblow Echo grants plus 4 attack when initiating and is still the only option for a couple class types. For other fodder, you can grab Attack and Speed Clash 4 or Speed and Defense Hold. Triandra is the only Flow Refresh 4 holder, that tier 4 added debuffs and 40% DR. Last up is Harken, a sword infantry who drops a bit of speed for a stellar base defense. Harken has a slaying dual phase brave sword that grants +5 stats, 40% DR for one hit, and breath type cooldown. Seems familiar. Harken will also have an unusual warp mechanic, but basically it's like having 3 movement. For other skills, we got Attack and Defense Clash 4, and Harken is only one of 2 Brash Assault 4 holders. Interesting B skill for initiating. He's not a high-speed sword master, but Harken can lay down some damage with his fun weapon. He has a lot of fun skills as an infantry unit. Overall, red is quite decent. Everyone has a lot of fun new skills available. For the blue group, we start with Mythic Freyr, and one mythic that boosts attack, and a very min-maxed slow blue beast cavalier. Freyr's main trait is his C skill, which prevents penalties from applying at start of either phase on Freyr allies within 2 spaces. This is great to deny things like player sabotage, but Freyr does not cleanse debuffs applied during a phase, like from Triandra's dance. Now, he also gives his teammates +6 defense res field buffs and a resonance shield status. Freyr can gain bonus defense res and guard when he's near allies. From his weapon, Freyr has slaying and inflicts attack and defense debuffs that scale with half the highest total field buffs on nearby allies. He also has a free follow-up attack, 30% DR versus everything. For skills, Freyr also has Attack and Defense Clash 4, and he's the only unit with a low Attack and Defense 4, another fodder set maybe for someone like Alear. Next up, legendary Myrrh. She's a proper flying blue dragon, and like her recent Valentine's ult, Myrrh gives herself Warp Bubble. Myrrh also gains +6 defense rise field buffs and a follow-up denial status. Her weapon then got slaying, -5 debuffs, 30% DR for all hits, and a free follow-up attack. For skills, you got Dragon Wall, and the only holder of Defense Res Unity. Myrrh do be hoarding those pure tank skills. Valentine's Myrrh already has her armored specials, but Legendary may be able to use that new Dragon's Roar special, assuming it is indeed inheritable. Last up, we got Febail, who's a high attack and speed blue infantry archer. His bow has slaying, +5 stats with bonus attack and speed based on the foe's attack, no guard, 30% damage reduction for one hit, and restores 7 HP after combat. For skills, Febail has the unusual, but still interesting, Speed and Res Hexblade, and the maybe more desired Physical No Follow-up. With our 5 slots, you can now take both skills as long as you got one of either of the regular No Follow-up or Sorcery Blade prereqs. The blue group has a couple rare skills and a couple rare effects like Freyr's Penalty Prevention or Myrrh's Warp Bubble. Next, our green group also has a somewhat quick return for Mythic Heidr. She's an Asher Mythic that boosts res and is a high attack and speed green infantry mage. Heidr's uniqueness comes from her Gold Serpent Assist, which acts like a rally skill. Every turn it grants more effects, from increasing attack and speed field buffs to Gotoh 1, then Treachery, and last Dual Strike on turn 4. Heidr also gains all the same benefits, and she gets another action. Her weapon has a built-in ruse effect to go at Gold Serpent. It also has Slaying, +5 stats, true damage based on attack, and 30% DR for one hit. For more combat, Heidr's skills include Remote Sparrow, Magic No Follow, and Panic Smoke 4. All really good stuff, and fairly easy to grab all tier 4 skills here. Next up is legendary Ninian, who's a unique green cavalry dragon dancer. Ninian's unique dance gains extra effects on turn 2 onward. Ninian will also get an extra action with +6 attack and speed and isolation on herself. This self-refresh will go on a 3-turn cooldown. From her weapon, after dance is used, Ninian inflicts -6 defense res debuffs on the nearest foes within 4 spaces. Ninian then gets aggressive with bonus attack and speed, offensive no follow-up, and fire sweep if the foe has a penalty active or is blue. It's not insane, but Ninian has okay offensive stats to make use of her aggressive dragon dance tactics. For skills, she has attack and speed catch 4 and speed and res near trace for Gotoh. You then got blue feud to continue pressuring those blue units. Last up is Attuned Peony. If you want to summon her, do wait for the Ahir Rises event happening very soon. Peony may end up on that banner or just win it all potentially. That said, you can get a couple guaranteed sparks if you really want copies. Attuned Peony is an X-Flying Dancer. Her unique dance grants field buffs, the warp status, and Gotoh 1 to possibly multiple allies. Peony also has Rock Slide Dance 3 for Gotoh 1 on herself, plus speed and defense field buffs and dodge on an ally. From her weapon, you got a cross spur effect for attack and speed with 5 HP sustain. Peony also has the actual cross spur speed C skill. For combat, she has slaying, +5 stats, 40% DR for one hit, 5 HP sustain, and maybe bonus 4 stats if you're lined up with an ally. For other skills, Peony has attack and speed unity and her unique attack Oath Echo, attuned X skill. Self-buffs with warping is excellent as an extra slot. Clearly, the people like Peony if she's in a Hero Rises, bunch of skills to fodder, and you get to keep an excellent dancer in your barracks. Overall, this green group is all about extra actions plus general support buffs. Definitely can find a use for everyone here. Last up is Colorless. We talked about our new legendary Alear, but for fodder, you can get the new Speed and Res Bulwark 4 and the fun Attack and Speed Pledge. Unless there's an exception, Dragon's Roar most likely is inheritable. As always, just double check in-game before you actually summon. Joining Alear is Mythic Gullveig, who is also in a Hero Rises. If you want to summon, maybe wait a few days, or like with Peony, you may be able to score multiple sparks or copies in a short time. Now, Mythic Gullveig is an animal mythic that boosts speed. She's a colorless mage cavalier with pure offensive stats. Her tome has Slaying, +5 stats, bonus attack and speed based on speed, full no follow, and 70% damage reduction for 1 hit on initiations with her 7 HP healing after. Gullveig can also get an extra action on a 2-turn cooldown. Her special will boost damage based on speed with no guard. If it triggers, this also grants another action. Like Edelgard, potentially 3 actions in a single turn. I think a lot of people want Gullveig for her fodder. She has Demon Res Smoke 3, which can be fun with her extra turns, but really everyone's eyeing the really dumb Flared Sparrow plus Occultist's Strike, or what I'm going to continue calling the Flared Strike combo. 14 instant damage, flame tiles, and true damage. Just a whole lot of offense, and very easy to grab both of those skills. Now, our last banner unit is Mythic Gotoh, who is a light mythic boosting res. Gotoh is a pure tank colorless infantry mage. I think he's actually the slowest unit in the game if you include Dragon Flowers. Gotoh's main niche is providing +60 with his field boss and a status that will reduce AoE specials by a whopping 80%. If you pair this with Mythic Lumera's Divine Vein Stone tiles, then you should get 90% DR. For combat, Gotoh has Slaying, inflicts attack and res debuffs, he has low attack and res, no C disrupt, and 7 HP sustain. His A skill inflicts -10 attack and res, grants a free follow-up attack, and has Brave Ike's Urban Refine, basically 80% DR on consecutive hits, and Gotoh gives foes Desperation to proc it. To add to this bulk, you got Guard 4 and Joint Distant Guard. Guard 4 is not a bad defensive option with the added % DR, but still pretty hard to get. All in all though, Colorless is a fun time if you're gunning for Alear, a lot of rare skills, and you got another Hero Rises finalist. That's going to wrap up this much legendary banner. The engaged train keeps on rolling, and legendary male Alear does stand out from his female counterpart while keeping the fun magical martial arts. He has partial DR piercing on all hits with good cooldowns, so he's going to have decent damage output, but it does feel like this Alear's kit is trying to answer some of the crazy nuking going on in the game with that miracle effect. Funny enough, female Alear can enable nukers with her sharing DR piercing on those specials. In general, if you're short on orbs, maybe wait to see how a Hero Rises turns out. It should start the following day after this banner releases, and after round 1, we will know our 4-man banner that will come later in March. Pretty much guaranteed to be a spicy lineup, so if there's units interest you, then you may want to save up. For me, I still have no Valentine's Ephraim and no orbs, so yeah, not gonna summon here even if I wanted to. If you're going to be summoning, hopefully you're better off than me. Let me know your thoughts on legendary male Alear, and if you need a Hero Rises refresher on the finalists, then check out my video. I have it linked in the end card. Thank you for watching though, good luck, and I will see you guys in the next one.